Hey yo, all they wanna do is dance. That's all they wanna do.
Get it. Get it.
What?
Get it.
What?
This is that automatic. I stay fresh like I'm wrapped in plastic.
All right,
Beat
fellas,
goes plastic,
welcome.
see galactic.
Press Pass Live. It's been a couple of weeks since we've had a show, but the new Madden is here. Game is in hand. I've got a nice cup of coffee sitting next to me, even though it's lunchtime. Got my bottle of water here, and I'm ready to dig into some stuff, man. We've got a lot of stuff to cover today. I've got a lot of things that I have not been able to update, and so it's time to catch us up. And so what we're going to do here first is we're going to cover the FPR rules and just kind of what the whole process behind that. I know that there is a video already up there. That video is a little out of date, so I need to update it, and that is what we're going to do right now. So let me just kind of lay some groundwork because we're going to record this, of course, and post it for new guys whenever they join. And I'm going to try to keep this as abbreviated as possible. But basically, just about every football league that's out there, Madden Football League, calls themselves a sim football league. Basically, all a sim football league means is they're a simulation style football. It is the most over abused, unnecessary word that you've ever seen. And actually, we got to start the video recording here. So let me pause for a second, get this video going. Because, yeah, I jumped the gun a little bit here. Probably going to hear my family in the background, and everyone is home. And so there's no fancy studios here for the OMFL. It just is what it is. All right, so the video's up. So now we got a little video to go with this. But every single football league out there calls themselves a simulation style football league. It just means they want to simulate what you see on Sundays. I've been doing this since 2001. I got the Madden addiction whenever Madden dropped their first PC game that actually had online leagues. And so just the thought of having an online league sounded like something I wanted to be a part of. So in 2001, January 2001, I started the OMFL and really have been around since the beginning and seen what sim meant and what rules were and what the game did and didn't allow and what you had to have and not have. And so especially if you're listening to this as a new guy coming in, if you've never been a part of a CFM, I think that this is the best Madden. Madden 17 is one of the best Maddens that we've ever had, if not the best. I love it. I think it's an amazing game from start to finish. It is the most fully rounded game. The only other game that I think I enjoyed more was 2001. That game was pretty great with the online servers and everything that we had back then. But this is a great game, and so because of that, a lot of people are getting turned on to CFMs, and they want to check out what that is and what that means. And so if you're new to this, the rules can probably be a little overwhelming, and you can't quite wrap your brain around it. And so I just want to kind of break down why we have rules. Over the years, I think simulation, especially as NFL football has changed, simulation has changed, and guys still call their leagues and they brag like we're simulation football, we're sim football, this is a sim league, blah 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 blah, and it doesn't mean anything because basically, simulation football, simulating in Madden what we see on Sundays doesn't translate. It just doesn't work. We have computer controlled players and not real NFL players, and so the mix doesn't work. It just doesn't translate. It doesn't.
These are two pictures. This is the house next door.
Doesn't translate all the way over. So because it doesn't translate, we've gotten away from using the sim word and sim language, and we are now a strategic football league. And I think we're one of the few leagues that consider themselves that. We are a strategic football league who is guided. That strategy is guided by fair play rules. We call them FPR. And this is just rules that are bound around being fair play and having fair play. And so, yeah, we want to have guys win games because you built a better team, because you called better plays, and because you just played better football that day, and not because you found the fastest players and you found all the plays that work and you click buttons quicker than the other guy. That's not what this is about. The OMFL also is not a league that is about just playing as many games as you possibly can play. This really is about the camaraderie, about the brothership that we have here in the grown folks community, and playing a bunch of games that we all enjoy. Gaming is a hobby for a lot of us. It's a stress relief. It's what we do just to kind of get away from the real world and do something that we enjoy for an hour. And so, in order to do that, we need to cover some fair play really quick and just kind of cover what this is going to look like. So let's just talk about general league operations and settings. These are just basic things. This is just how the league operates, basically. All right. And the number one rule is always going to be respect. You're grown people. We don't let anyone under 18 join. We've also, unfortunately, had to keep people that are not from the U.S. from joining just because the time differences are so terrible. It's just too hard on the guys who are here in the U.S. And this is a majority a U.S. league. And so we've even shied away from having guys from outside the U.S. join. There are a few exceptions that we've made, but overall, we've stayed away from it. And the grown folks community, the OMFL is a league. We ask that you be grown and treat each other with respect. Talk to each other with respect. I hate internet bullies. I hate that people just act the way they act. The thirst is real online. And so it just be nice or leave. That's just basically the easiest way to put it. Be nice to people and do things the right way. Group me chats is how we communicate on a daily basis. That's what we as a board watch for, to make sure that guys are active and actually around and talking and participating. And so we watch that group me chat to make sure that you guys are there and participating. Complaints. The thirst is real in games. People want to win. We get caught up in it. It's understandable. It makes sense. And it happens. But because of that, if you have a complaint, we ask that you breathe, just chill out. It's okay. There'll be more games to come. You'll get another chance to win. And know that we do have a board, and we watch every game that's complained about, and we try to watch every game as they happen. I watched the game today, gave both owners feedback during the game on big things that needed to try to stop immediately. And then I gave feedback after the game. I tried to do it in a respectful way. These are grown men taking time away. This is their own personal time. They don't have to do this. I'm not trying to be a butt, but at the same time, there's some things we got to clean up. So if you have a complaint, you need to go straight to me, Chaotic, the co-commish, or Brady, who is the FPR guy. He watches all the films. And what we do is we put a post in our boardroom, and with the actual complaint, copy and paste it. We watch the film. We speak to both owners. We close that post whenever it is complete and taken care of. So if you have a complaint, make sure that you talk to the right person. Large leads in showboating. No showboating. So the button that you press to showboat, don't do it. Guys just get real angry about it, and there's just no need for it. It's just a waste of time. Just don't do it, okay? So don't use the showboat button. And if you have a large lead, back off. If you're, up 28 in the fourth quarter, if you're up 30 in the third quarter, just back off, man. Just pump the brakes a litlittle bit, put in some backups, know when the game is over and when you should back off. There's always going to be that fuzzy line. There's a little gray area right where you're I should back off. And if you back off, you lose. And then you don't back off. And the guy's well, I quit playing, blah, blah, blah. So there's always going to be a gray area. That's okay in that gray area, but know when it's over and when guys have just given up. Our forums, absolutely 100% have to use them. This is the main way that we make sure that you're participating. Every game has to be scheduled on there. Every person that you want to sign has to be signed on there. The incentive program is on there. Look, we have really put a lot of time, energy, and effort in creating an incentive program to benefit those guys who put in the extra work and who want to participate in extra things. And so, look, we've done that for you. So make sure that you're on our forums at least once a day. Life gets busy. If you can't be on it every single day at least once, that's fine, but be on there as much as you possibly can so that you keep up. Our league advances every 72 hours. Games have to be scheduled within 24 hours of the advance. You get messages from me. There's a calendar invite in the main chat. The header on the main chat has the advances. The subject in the main chat has the advances. I put it on the Daddy League page. I put it in the scheduling forum. It's on the website. There's absolutely no reason to not know when the schedule is and when games need to be done. Please schedule them. And I have to admit that this group right here is extremely good about it. We are knocking out games left and right. The struggle for us is going to be keeping this going in February, March, April, May, whenever summer starts to get here and guys start to back off how they want to play. So make sure that you're scheduling your games on the forum and keeping that thread updated, even if you're talking through GroupMe. Last, the league sliders are all pro with sliders. We adjust those every season, so we'll look at them after the season. We'll look at all the stats, see where they need to be adjusted, and we'll adjust them. 10 minutes with Excel clock down to 15 seconds. We do this because it hits about an hour, and that an hour is the sweet spot of where we want games to be. Game speed is normal. Everyone must create a brand new coach and be on the same level whenever you join the league. Custom playbooks are allowed. Here are the playbooks that are not allowed. Banned playbooks are pistol, run and gun, run and shoot. Cannot use those at all. You can use those formations. You can't use those playbooks. There's playbooks called that are just those plays, and you can't use those. All players must have showed previous play on. I got to remove this, but the kicking arc is actually stuck on. There's nothing we can do about that, but it fades away. So kicking is just hard in general, so don't worry about it. When you have a CPU game, so you have to play the CPU, you have one or two options. You can play the moments, and it's one-shot deal. You play the moments, whatever happens, happens. Or you can play the CPU, and that's, again, you stream it, you announce the stream, you play it, you get one shot to do it. Or actually, you can have a third option, and that's a straight sim. So if you just don't want to play the moments, you don't want to play the computer, we'll turn the injuries off, and you just get a straight sim. Twitch or YouTube, you can use YouTube this year, but make sure your Twitch and YouTube are archived. Make sure those videos are being saved so that if there's a complaint, we can go back and watch it. Plus, I use those to create highlight reels that we can use for the website. So it's very important that you make sure that the game is twitched. There are guys that have asked if we could change the language to say what team needs to twitch. I could care less. Again, we go back to the first rule, respect. We are all grown men. So look, just figure it out. Like, hey, you want to stream? No, I'll stream, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Just somebody make sure that the game is streamed, communicate with each other, make sure that it's archived, and that we have that. Quitting games, never, ever, ever, ever quit a game. I don't care how bad it is. If you quit a game, then you are up for expulsion right away. It is the golden rule. You never quit a game. Disconnects suck. They happen. They're better this year, but they still have happened a lot to some guys. They're not perfect. No one is ever happy with them. They suck for everyone all the way around. I'm sorry. I didn't create the game. Take that up with EA. This is the best solution that we could come up with that is the best for both guys. You're more than welcome to come up with your own solution, but if not, you use this as a guide. First half, the game is always replayed from 0 to 0. No carryover, no get to the same score, no, hey, let me have my big run back. None of that crap. 0-0 if you disconnect in the first half. Third quarter, if one team is up more than 28 points, that team gets the win. Just the game is over. If not, then the losing team, if it's less than 28, can concede. If the losing team doesn't concede, it's a complete replay from 0-0. Same thing for the fourth quarter, except for 21 points. Look, it sucks, guys. I don't want disconnects. They happen. There's nothing we can do about them. Just like keep it as cool as you can keep it. This is the guidelines. In overtime, if a game disconnects in overtime, we ask that you play the first quarter of the restart as if it were the overtime, and just follow it like normal overtime rules. And then whoever wins will get the simulated win or the computer game. Again, rules violations. If you're going to submit a rules violation, don't just go on a rampage of a billion things that you felt like the guy was doing. Give me timestamps. If you're not willing to take the time to give me timestamps, then yeah, you don't want to take the time to file an official complaint. We do our best to go back and watch every single game. But if every game is an hour and 6 games get reported as a bad game with a complaint, then me and the rest of the guys have to spend 6 hours of our days watching whole games. That's ridiculous. You played the game. Like, jot down a timestamp, jot down some notes. Help us out here. We will do our best to go back if you can't timestamp it. If it's like a rule violation that timestamps won't really work, hey, this guy blitzed every first down. Well, that's you can't timestamp that. But at the same time, if it's like the same thing every single time, timestamp it and send it. Here are your board members. Again, we have a guy. His name's Brady. He's over gameplay rules issues. He is everything FPR. He watches all the games. He comes up with new rules. He kind of is the lead for rules. Chaotic is over history tracking, off-season tracking, contract tracking, free agents, all that stuff. Dux is over the incentive plan. He makes sure that people are participating in articles, blogs, that kind of stuff, and that we're taking note, watching who gets their game scheduled on time, who plays early, all that good stuff. Steve used to be our scheduling guy. Now is Bill. Steve had some time constraints, and so Bill has taken back over that, and he will be over scheduling. Bill can be rough around the edges, but he's a nice dude, and he likes to joke a lot. So don't take him so seriously, and know that, look, he's got a job that he's very passionate about, and he's going to make sure that you're scheduling your games so we can get these games done as soon as possible, and then we can kind of all move on with our lives. So if you have issues, those are the guys that you go to. Let's hop over to, look, we got a new member quiz that we got to go through. Let's talk about fair play rules on offense. Here is the number one guiding rule for both offense and defense. It's pretty simple. Don't do anything excessive, period. Easy, not hard. Excessive is anything 55 to 65% of the time. I don't care if it's a blitz, if it's a zone, if it's a run, if it's a sweep, you name it. Swing plays, screens, whatever. If you're doing it excessively, you're not going to work out here. Mix it up. Try different formations, different sets, different players, different plays. Just mix things up. Don't do anything consistently every single play. If you follow that one little rule, everything else is going to be just fine. We are a no-switch league. That just means when the ball is in the air on offense and defense, you do not press a button, you do not switch. You let the players make the plays. We do this for a couple of reasons. It forces guys to completely, holistically build players. That means attributes, stats, you name it. Guys are now forced to completely build their player because you quickly swapping to that player and pressing a button doesn't override that player's stats because we don't allow you to press those buttons. So now you have to build that receiver, that tight end, that running back, that DB, that safety. You have to build that guy up so that he'll make the plays that you need him to make. It also keeps you away from those funky animations that can happen. And it goes back to strategic, not sim. We wanted this to be strategic. I want you to beat me on offense or defense because you called a better play and that you have better players, more than you press buttons quicker than I can press buttons. And that's basically what most Madden leagues are. If you are quicker at pressing buttons than other guys and you trade or build up the fastest guys that you can possibly get, then you're going to be a really good player. And that we're trying to take that out of it and really make this a strategic league. So don't swap on offense or defense. Guys say, well, I've been swapping my entire life. I've been playing this longer than almost everybody out there. That is just the bottom line. I've been playing this since PC 2001 days, and there are not many guys like me left. 00 in this league has been here since the beginning with me. But there are like a handful of us in this community that still do this since 2001. And I don't do it. So if I don't do it, then I'm sure everybody else can learn how to do it. All right, quarterbacks. Quarterback runs can't exceed 25% of the halfback run. So a quarter of the runs that your halfback gets, he gets 20 carries. You can't run the ball more than 4 times. I don't know why that says 5. Somebody's math was bad. All right, you got to change that. This excludes kneel downs. That doesn't work. All right, so kneel downs don't count towards that. Manually sprinting with the quarterback out of the pocket. So as soon as you snap, if you manually sprint to the sidelines, that's not allowed. That tricks the AI. All right. Quarterback drops beyond 10 yards. Guys just keep going back, keep going back, keep going back, keep going back. It's not realistic. Don't do it. Quarterback sneak is completely banned. I seen that play today in a game that actually won the game. It was disheartening. It was frustrating. This is an easy rule. Never, ever run the quarterback sneak. Well, why? Well, because it's too easy. It's a give me. It's an automatic touchdown if you're on the 1 yard line. We don't want automatic anything. Like, earn it. And that play is just an automatic play. Passing after running outside the numbers. So if you run to the numbers, the big numbers on each sideline, you must then run the ball or throw the ball out of bounds. What happens is once you get to those numbers, the DB, the linebackers begin to go after the quarterback. They pull off of the receiver or the tight end, leaving the guy wide open. We do not want that. Don't do it. Halfbacks, the number one halfback. Here's the number one rule at halfbacks. It's an 80-20 rule. The number one halfback should have no more than 80% of the carries for your team. Basically, every 4 carries that your starter gets, you need a R1 sub in your backup running back or your backup third string. I don't care. Put in somebody else. Personally, I like to see 2 or 3 or 4 running backs get carries, how many running backs you have on your team. Mix it up, all right? Give backup halfbacks a carry. This will not automatically happen. You can set your auto subs. They don't work. They have never worked. In all of the Maddens for eternity, they have never worked. I don't know why they can't get it right. Automatic subs do not work, even with fatigue way down. Automatically, you need to manually sub those guys back in. Outside runs of the tackle must be 50-50. Basically, outside runs are overpowered. They're too easy. The AI ends up taking up bad angles. It's a whole lot easier to run outside than it is inside. So because of that, if we allowed it, guys would only run outside. And then for the entire league and every player, we'd only see shotgun runs and outside runs because that's all that works and that's all that we'd ever see. So because of that, we have to have a 50-50 rule to force guys to mix it up and run it inside. Look, just run it inside. It's not hard, okay? Shotgun runs, again, these are just overpowered. Here's why. The defensive line just doesn't react correctly. And so it leaves huge gaps and huge goals because the linebackers end up running to the outside automatically to cover tight ends and receivers. It opens up massive gaps in the middle, which just makes it easy. And so that's why we ask you not to do it. Doesn't mean you can't run them at all. Just don't run them the whole time, the whole game. No more than 50% of your runs should be out of the shotgun, and shotgun should not be a base offense. Sorry, need a little coffee. No more than 25% of your passes in the game can be screen passes. Seen a couple of games this week where screen plays are getting a little out of hand. Just keep it in mind, all right? Like they're not as overpowered as they used to be. They used to be like really bad, where it was a give me 25-yard gain every single time. That's why this rule got here. It's not as bad, and so we're not like hammering down on it. But I don't want to see 10 screens a game. Like it's just too much. So mix it up a little bit. Also, play action should never be above 30%. If you look at NFL numbers, 30% is above everyone else play action. So just, run play action when it's necessary. It should never be called on third down. That is actually banned in this league. You should never call a third down play action pass ever. Because again, AI reacts to the play action no matter what. NFL players would not. Parallel running. This one seems to be a tough one for new guys who join here. So parallel running is running sideline to sideline with a running back, a wide receiver, whatever, a kickoff. I don't care. You called it, but you're running sideline to sideline. So it's just taking a player and running straight parallel, straight horizontal, straight sideline to sideline. Here's why we don't want that to happen ever on a kickoff, on a run, any of that, because the AI takes bad angles. I've even seen today where a guy ran backwards for a couple steps, then he ran parallel, and then he made the corner. That is the exact play that we don't want to happen in this league. So when you run backwards, the computer doesn't continue to run at the angle at you. Instead, he now runs north and south to get you. But you're 5, 6, 7 yards away from him, so now you can easily make the corner. So you're just tricking the AI, and you're not running a strategic play. When you run sideline to sideline, the computer takes really bad angles at you and allows you to make the corner. In an NFL game, a real player, that defensive player is going to run sideline to sideline with you and force you to cut it up. The game doesn't do that. So we're asking you not to do it. Here's an easy concept to keep in memory. It is okay to have a loss on a play. It is okay to have an incomplete pass, and it is okay to take a sack. Like those plays are okay to happen and should happen, and you should just play the next down. Like I see guys, they call a blast to the right, and the play is blown up from the snap, and immediately when the halfback gets it, they're running parallel to the left. The play's not called to the left. Don't run it to the left. Like from time to time, you can bounce a run Like if it's called to the right, up the middle, and something happens and it's blown up and you need to cut it outside, that's fine from time to time, but it shouldn't be a majority of the time. And you should never be running a play that's called to the right to the left, or play that's called to the left, running it to the right. Just take your loss, all right, and play the next play. It's okay for that to take place, all right. Fullback dive is banned inside the 20-yard line. Period. It should never be ran. Why? Because again, it's a give me. Madden 16 was the worst. It was an easy 5 to 10 yards every fullback dive that you called. So we just ban it in the red zone. So don't do it. Halfback, wide receivers, tight ends. This is not. This is not okay. This is where it gets a little fuzzy. Okay, so yes, tight ends in NFL can be leaders. A handful. There's like 2 or 3 tight ends that can be receiving leaders in the league. The problem is every fast tight end in Madden can be open every single play. It just is. And so if we allow tight ends to be the main targets of teams, the only way to combat that is for the other team to play zone. And so now we're just rinse and repeating every game. It's the same game, same plays. It's boring. That's not what we're after. Because to battle you going at your tight end, I got to play zone, and now you're just going to the tight end and I'm playing zone the whole entire game. It's not fun. So we just ask guys to look. Occasionally, the tight end can lead. If your tight end's having a good game, and it happens occasionally. I just don't want to see a tight end leading every team by 10, 15, 20 catches on your team, being the majority leader, okay? Wide receivers are the receivers, and that's who should be the leaders and the main targets on a lot of your plays. Coach suggestion play is completely banned. The reason is because it calls the same 3 to 6 plays the entire game, and that's not fun to play against. So don't use coach suggestion play. Use of the same type of play on third down. Mix it up, offense and defense. Just don't call the same. I watched the game today. Called 2 verticals with a post in the middle every freaking third down. Like, that's not what we're after. Don't do it. Like, mix it up. Find other plays, all right? And again, just like it's okay to take a loss and a sack, it's okay to punt. You're going to be all right, and you'll get another game, and there'll be another season, and we'll keep on playing. Calling play action on third and long is banned, like I said. No excessive hot routing. That means you're allowed up to 3 hot routes or fake hot routes or anything. You're allowed 3 barkings at the line. That doesn't mean you're allowed that every single play. All right. Most of your plays, get to the line, run the play. All right. If there are sometimes you need a hot route, you need an audible, that's fine. Just don't do it again excessively. That first rule that we talked about. You have to use some kind of pro formation, I farm, weak. Even 2 tight end, single back sets are fine. Just no shotgun only, 4 wide receiver only, big only. We just don't want to see that kind of stuff. It just isn't fun to play against. It's not mixing it up. Verticals are overpowered, not nearly as much as they used to be. Last game, it was terrible. A vertical play is anything with 3 vertical routes or more. We ask you to limit those. All right, back off the vertical routes. Oh, well, I'm down 7. Well, I don't care what you're down. Don't call verticals every single play. Again, I watched a game today where it was like verticals every 3 out of 4 plays. It's even 2 verticals is too much. Like, call other plays, find other plays in your playbook. Manually motion a play and snapping it before they're set. Don't do that. Let them get set. Let the defense have a second. All right, let's just be fair about it. Your run-pass ratio should never go over 70-30 in either direction. Life happens. Games get out of hand. It's okay if it gets out of hand from time to time. Just kind of keep that in mind. Never, ever run the play clock all the way down. Give the other team a couple seconds to get set, and then run your play. After it gets into the last 3 minutes of the first half and second half, then you can run it down to 0. Other than that, get to the line, run the play. Let's play. That's what we're here for. We're here to play football. Let's play football. Fourth down. This has been such a pain in the neck. And over the years, I think that this is the best solution that we could come up with. If you're past the 50-yard line and it's less than 2 yards, you can go for it. If you're losing by 20 or more points, or losing in the fourth quarter, or losing in overtime, you can go for it anytime you want. Fullback dive is banned inside the red zone. All other fourth down situations, you got to punt or kick. Fake field goals and fake punts fall under that. So you can't fake field goal it on 4th and 5. You can't fake punt it on 4th and 10. has to fall in the same go for it rules. Online kicks are permitted by the losing team in the fourth quarter only, and no huddle is only allowed in the last 2 minutes of either half or when losing by 14 more points in the second half, or the losing team in the fourth quarter, no matter the amount. Allow the defense to get set, though. Just be cool about it, and it'll be all right. I don't see too much of that anymore. Again, same thing for defense. Let's talk about fair play rules on defense. Again, the excessive rule, we've already kind of covered that. No switch, we've already kind of covered that. Suggestion play, again, just like offense calls the same, 3 to 6 plays. Excessive hot routing, it's not call a defense and then sketch up your own play, offense or defense. So that's why we limit those. Look, just keep it legit. All right, run the plays that you called. And if that play isn't working, then find another play. Don't sketch up your own play. Excessive use of nickel, dime, dollar, quarter versus 2 wide receivers or less. A good rule of thumb is don't have more than 1 DB than receiver. Basically, we just don't want guys coming out and playing quarter defense the entire game while a guy is in pro formation or strong formation. Just like match the offense to the defense. And if you're new, you'll see at the bottom when they pick their play, it tells you 2 receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end. It'll tell you what they're coming out in. It's okay to come out in like a dime, versus a pro formation, 3 or 4 times a game if it's an accident, but just don't do it a majority of the time. Again, the heart of the rule is don't do anything excessively. Excessive use of show blitz, like I don't want to see a game where the entire game there's 10 people in the box, 11 people in the box. Like, play regular defense. You must rush 3 defensive players on every play at minimum. And if you play the defensive line and you are called to rush the quarterback, you may never go out and play zone. I've seen that where guys blitz the quarterback for a second and then now they're 10 yards deep playing a zone as a defensive end. No, like if you want to do that, then call a zone blitz and pick the guy who's going out and go do that. Excessive use of one type of man coverage, zone coverage, or blitz. A base defense, 3-4, 4-3 must be used 65% of the time. Again, the rule is and play legit football. Don't come out crazy formations the entire game. Run commit can only be used in 2 yards or less situations. It's banned in every other type of situation. Linebackers, you can only move them inside the box. Don't put them in a gap up against the defensive line because then that tricks the AI. So just keep them out of the defensive line area, but you can move them left and right inside the box. Safeties and cornerbacks can come up to that linebacker box or up to the line of scrimmage if they're out of the linebacker box. You're allowed to move 1 player, and you must be that player until the ball is snapped. You cannot move until the ball is snapped. And in special teams, there's no pre-snap movement at all, so don't move around at all. Now we get into the fun stuff. That's the gameplay stuff. These are the things that can be a little bit confusing at times. And these are just like trades, off seasons, contracts, that kind of stuff. So especially since we got all the yucky, unfun stuff out of the way, we can talk the fun stuff. We do use the cap system that's in the game, duh. But at one time, we didn't have a cap system, so that's why that's there. Trades, if you're a new guy listening to this, you must be in the league for 4 advances, which is usually about a week and a half or whatever. The reason we do that is just to make sure you're going to stay and we don't start allowing people to make moves and then, 1 weekend they decide this isn't for me, I'm out of here. And you just made a bunch of moves to your team. So we make you kind of earn your way to trade. You're allowed to trade any combination of 4 players or picks. Those players have to be 80 overall or above, and the picks have to be 3rd round or above. Anything that is below 80 overall and below the 3rd round can be traded and don't count. So you can do as many of those as you want. And the reason we do that is to allow guys to move the bottom of their drafts and their rosters without counting against them. But we limit the top end of it, just like the NFL. You don't see a lot of top end guys being moved, and definitely don't see a ton of 1st round picks being moved. So we limit the top end, but give you the freedom on the bottom end. We're allowed the option to decline any trade that we feel like is too much or will hurt a team too much, because if you decide to leave, we're stuck here with your team. Future draft picks can be traded, but only for the very next offseason. And only 2 picks can be dealt away, and none of those can be a first-round pick. Again, trying to save first-rounders for teams in case you have to leave. A player drafted cannot be traded in their rookie year, but may be traded after their rookie year. And a player signed as a free agent or a practice squad player cannot be traded in that same season. So you have to wait till the offseason before you can move them. A player with a cap hit over $12 million cannot be traded. You have to cut those guys. So if you have a player with $20 million cap hit, you can't go out and trade him. If you're going to get rid of him, you got to cut him. And that's just, again, keeping it a little bit more realistic. Free agency. All bids in the OMFL have to be a minimum of $500K per bid. So if you're going to raise a bid, you can't raise it $100K. We'll sit here all day doing that. It's a minimum of $500K. If you want to sign a free agent, you must make a waiver wire post. And there's examples here. The title needs to have position, player's name, overall. The body must have how much you're offering him for the 1 year. If you want to sign a practice squad player from someone else's team to your 53-man, it's the exact same way. The title's a little bit different because you put what team he's currently playing for. And then after you make that post, you are to send that post in a PM to the owner who owns that player, just giving him a heads up because he has 24 hours to decide if he's going to keep that player in his 53-man or if he's going to let you have him. And then finally, if you want to sign a free agent to your practice squad, it's pretty easy. You just make the post. In the title, it says to practice squad, to PS. No salary, none of that because he goes to your practice squad. And then in 24 hours, we close it. If 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 guys want that same player, we go by waiver wire, which is posted in that same form. You can see all the examples here. We try to make it as easy as possible for you. Every team's allowed to sign 5 guys per advance. You're required to keep 53 players on your roster at all times. Injured reserve is in the game. Contract rules. No 4, 5, 6, or 7-year deals ever. You can only offer up to 3-year deals. That is for re-signs, free agents, anything in this league, only up to 3-year deals. Any violations, we will immediately enforce you to release the player and eat the cap. The bonus must be 25% of the years offered. So we require a minimum bonus, and we want to see that. So players aren't just out there signing like $55 million contracts with no bonus. So you can cut that player, trade that player if you want, and it doesn't hurt your team. It's just not realistic. So it's a flaw in Madden 17. That flaw is that players that re-sign, so players on your team that are asking for a new contract, they will refuse. It doesn't matter what we do, they will not sign a contract for less than the amount of years that they're asking for. So some of your players may be asking for 4 or 5-year deals. If you offer them a 3-year deal, they won't sign it. Now in free agency, if you were to let that player go to free agency and then in the offseason offer them a 3-year deal, they would take it. It's annoying. I don't know why. It doesn't matter how much you increase the amount. Doesn't matter if you offer them $200 million, they are not going to sign less than the years that they're asking. So to combat that, we are giving you 2 contracts that can be signed for 4 or 5-year deals. But after you sign those deals, we will edit those 4 or 5-year deals because I have full editing power to 3-year deals. So if you sign a 5-year, $50 million offer on a player, because that's what he's asking for, I will now make it a 3-year, $50 million offer in the back, and your salary cap will reflect that. I will not figure out, okay, 5 years, 50 is $10 million a year, so I'm going to give him a 3-year, 30. I'm not doing all that. It's just, that's too much. If you want to keep that player, then you sign into a 5-year contract, and you know that 5 years is going to be edited down to 3 years, and you're going to have to eat that cap. You get 2 of those. Any more than 2, they got to go to free agency, and you can go battle for them in free agency. You don't have to stay away from them, but they got to walk. Anyone less than 3 years, you can sign as many as you want. You just make it work. Excuse the sinuses. I got to get some coffee in me. No team is allowed to have more than $25 million in cap hits in a single year. If any cut, trade, whatever, put you over that, then we'll have to suspend a player. Any violations will cause you to release the player. advances through free agency and the offseason in general will be on a random basis. We do that to keep people from sniping. If you don't know what sniping is, guys know, okay, if advance is at 7 o'clock, I'm going to put a bid in at 6:58. I'm going to become the leader, and then I'm going to win him. It's stupid, and I don't know why guys do it, and they still do it. So to do that, it's random. So you never know when we're going to advance. You make your best offer, you make it count, and we're going to advance. Drafts are always a catch-22. We try to make it work for everybody. It's impossible. There's 32 guys here. All of us have lives. All of us have families. All of us have our own life going on. We do the best that we can. We put it up for a vote. We pick the best date that we can. We make it happen. The drafts, I feel, are the best thing that we do here. I do an entire draft show, a pre-draft show, an entire draft show for the whole 4 hours that the draft goes on. We break down every player. If you like you are on here, if you call in, we let you talk about your players. It is a ton of fun. It's a great night, but we try to make it fit for everybody. Draft day trades can happen, but it has to be after round 4. So round 5, 6, and 7. If you want to swap those around, you can do those in game. No post, no agreeing. Just make it happen. So this is after free agency. So in the off season, we go through free agency, we go through resigns, free agency, draft, and then after the draft, there's a group of free agents. There's always like a big scramble for that group of guys. So the way we do it now is everyone has to be posted about. So when a post goes up, everyone can then bid, and we will close it 24 to 48 hour random closing after that post has been made. So once a guy gets a post up that somebody wants to sign him, that's up for 24 to 48 hours random closing, and everyone else in the league has that time period to randomly to post on that thread what you want to offer that player. So that's how it's going to work after the draft is over. Position changes, basically, you can have a player play any position that's in this little chart right here. Feel free to let them make sure that you hit the speed minimums and that you're doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. Yeah, that's how this is going to work, basically. If you want a player to play a position that's not allowed in this chart, every offseason we will put up a post in the main forum, and we call it a position change exemption form. And you're allowed to make your case of why your player should play somewhere. Whatever that position is, wherever you want him to play. This year, we even have full editing ability. And so if you draft a cornerback that you want to play receiver or vice versa, whatever, you make your case. And then the board votes on it, and we approve or don't approve. And then we manually make that change for you. Only halfback, fullback, tight end can play third. Running back position. No other changes are allowed other than what's in this chart. You must at all times have 3 halfbacks, 4 receivers, 4 cornerbacks, any combination of 4 safeties. Again, every owner must create a coach only. You do get 1 confidence reset going into week 1. During a bye week, if you want your confidence reset during the bye week, you must post in the scheduling forum, I'm on my bye week, I want my confidence reset. That means anyone below 50 confidence gets reset to 50. Anyone above stays where they're at. And then, of course, we reset going into the free agency after the season's over. And then the incentive plan. You need to check out our incentive plan if you don't know what it is. We basically award you. It does cost money to run this league. These forums are not free. The website's not free. The graphics are not free. Like I create a lot of this, but a lot of this we have to pay for. Daddy Leagues is not free. All this stuff costs money. So guys have wanted to give towards that to help. I work for a nonprofit. I have a family. I've been doing community and youth work for 15 years. I am not sitting on a pile of cash here. I do this just because I enjoy doing it. So we created an incentive plan, 4 levels. The first level is a buy-in. So if you want to give money towards the league, that's platinum awards. We give you 4 points, one-time use that you can use anywhere. You can spread those 4 out anywhere that you want them to go. That happens once a Madden. So if you give $5, $50, $5,000, I don't care. you get 4 points that we can put on a player. Outside of that, every season there's gold, silver, bronze, and that is incentive based on activity, blog posts, games, scheduling, all of that stuff that you participate in. You are awarded gold, silver, bronze, and that's done by me using the board's input to vote on who should get what. So if you get that, then you are awarded an additional 3 points for gold, 2 for silver, 1 for bronze, and those are done every year. So those 3, 2, and 1 are done every Madden season. The platinum is a one-time per Madden. So all of Madden 17, you get it one time. So that is our FPR. That is basically how our league is ran. And I hope that helps give you a better idea of where we're coming from and kind of where we're going. I enjoy the snot out of it. I think we got really great guys here. Lots of games going on. You can see this morning there's all kinds of messages and things that are going on this morning. Got a lot of guys already called in. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take a few minute break here. I don't know. I'm going to give myself like 5 minutes, give my voice a break, and then I'm going to cover the league. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to pull up, what do they call this? Remote play. There's the word I'm looking for. I'm going to pull up remote play. I'm going to pull up the franchise, and we're going to look at some games. We're going to look at some stats. We're going to just do a normal press pass. So every weekend, usually on Saturday or Sunday, kind of depending on how my weekend goes, I will put out a press pass live, which covers the league. Part of that is every week we will also like cover some kind of rule. We'll cover some kind of something. Usually we'll get Brady to call in here, and Brady will be a part of this. But we'll do these every single week. These will go out. I do a hot seat usually every week or two. There's articles, all kinds of really great stuff. So we do a lot of extra work to kind of have you participate in. So yeah, we'd love to have you participate and be a part of what we're doing here. So I'm gonna give myself a 5 minute break. It's 12:07. So yeah, about 12:12. I'm gonna keep this up. I'll just come right back on, and we'll start it all over again. And yeah, we'll do a normal press pass live. So for those guys who called in, thanks for calling in. For those guys who are watching this way down the road as a new member, I hope that you understand the league. Please ask me any questions. We'd love for you to participate in what we got going on here. We got a great community. You can even check out our website, which I got to admit, I am not a webmaster, but I killed myself on this website trying to get it done. It's still got more work to be done to it, but I feel like it's come a long way. But if you are new here, you can see this is our community. So OMFL is kind of the flagship league, but we have other leagues. We have our coach mode league, which is coach mode only. You call the plays, the computer plays the plays out. We have our WWE 16 league. This is not actually our league. This is another league that's been in existence for 12 years, 11 years. We just advertise for them, and I participate over there. And then our FIFA league, which is starting here in a couple of days. It's a FIFA team. So we all play on the same team. You create a player, and we all get on together and play as a team against other teams. But check out our website. We're going to get some highlight reels that are going to be on here and some like explaining what Grown Folks is all about. Every league has its own like little website, so you can go and check out its own little page. So yeah, a lot of really neat things and cool things. I hope that you guys check it out, check us out, kind of see what we're all about. So yeah, let me take a couple of minute break. We will be back and we will do a press pass live. So I'll see you in a few minutes, brother.